What's up, everybody? It's your favorite parent with a common name's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Mafex Justice League Batman, and it's pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. Mafex seems to be on an upward swing, and I couldn't be happier about it, although my dear friend J-Ruze still might need to relax.
I was wondering if you had my number.
I do indeed. Never doubt my resources, J-Ruze.
I understand.
I had a quick question.
Sure, what do you got?
What company did you say was making better 1/12 scale figures than Figuarts?
Oh, man. I'm guessing there's a reason behind this. It was Mafex that had a couple of better figures than Figuarts.
I did tell you to relax, right?
You did.
Okay, good. Just messing with you, J-Ruze. But this figure's pretty good. Let's find out why. He comes with an alternate angry face, showing a little bit of teeth. Got the 5 o'clock shadow painted on there just as the other one. The eyes are deep set. They look good. No issues here. He comes with a grappling gun. We have the wood paint, well, the brown rather, I guess, painted on the handle. The rest is painted silver and perhaps even washed. And then the initial firing thing can be removed, so that's cool as well. We got like a little smoke bomb or flash grenade or mace to keep him safe when he's running at night. I'm not sure which. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. It's one of my least favorite DC EU movies. And then he comes with, you know, this mamma jamma here. It's cast in this kind of metallic silver, which is a good choice. Then we have some black paint accents added on. They all look good for what they're supposed to be. And he comes with not one, not two, but 3 batarangs, all in this silver. I can't tell if it's painted or not. It may very well be. It looks like it to me. And then it has the nice little sculpting detail in the edge of the wings. And they can all be held just fine. The batarangs, it should be noted, can be held in the relaxed hand between the fingers with some tension, or in this hand between the thumb and forefinger with some tension. And then we have some hands. These are in addition to the hands you've already seen holding weapons and the 2 fist hands that he came with in the opening footage. And then we have some weapon supporting hands. We have all sorts of stuff. We have the other corresponding hands for holding weapons. We have relaxed hands. Like, if you can't figure out a pose with these hands, it's not this figure's problem, it's yours. Alright, once again, we're going to talk about detailings before we get into this figure. I don't think that's an issue. I haven't noticed it yet, but I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe it was sitting offsided. If you run the footage back, you should be able to see if we got started on a bad foot there or not. But I'm leaving it in. So we have this cape. Let's talk about it, because that is one of the issues. Great. It's like a faux leather. It feels awesome and it looks awesome. So I dig that. Inside it has like the more kind of fabric-y feel. No problem. The only problem I have with the cape is when you stand him up, he gets a little bit of this bend here at the shoulder. The cape probably should have been cut, you know, almost like 89 style, and then had a way to flip it back. However, if you turn the cape back and you put this seam, like the initial seam, behind the shoulders, that looks pretty awesome. So I don't have an issue with it. I think it's an acceptable issue. Like, capes are always hard. You know, some are done better than others. Many are done poorly. But I think that this one has enough options in a workaround sort of, you know, environment where it was a decent choice. So we had the digital. It looks like paint on the face with the lips and the 5 o'clock shadow, and then the eyes. Looks great. No issues there. We have the digital sculpting throughout for the suit textures. Looks great. The suit is all in this very dark gray. It's a wonderful choice. Looks awesome. Then we have the sculpt work that's done for the forearms, and then we have some dry brushing, or maybe it's a copper with a wash over top. I can't tell. Paint for the gauntlets. The actual spikes don't match. They're a little brighter. Not the biggest deal in the world, but something worth noting. The belt is all sculpted and then painted with that copper and then definitely washed, so I'm assuming that they did the same for that, except the forearms, once again, get a heavier dose of the wash than the belt does, than the tops of the shoes do, or than the gauntlets do. So I'm going to go out on a limb and think that the forearms are what are the issue. The bat symbol is sculpted beautifully, no issues there. And then we have all of the kind of knuckles painted with the same sort of attention that all the other copper or gold has been done. No issues there. The boots are sculpted differently. They look great. So, like, The sculpt work is absolutely tremendous. The paint work, with the exception of that copper, and I'd have to watch the movie to make sure that I'm not going crazy here, but I can't imagine that it'd all be kind of consistent with that one exception or vice versa. So that is the only issue. I don't think it will bother you in person, but that's the only thing really worth noting. Difference in copper tone and the cape. I'm not sure why I kept saying copper instead of gold back then. Just deal with it, you know. It happens. I can't believe you guys are worked up over that Brawn Brawl stuff, but that's another story. Anyway, let's talk about articulation. We have a double ball peg from the head into the neck, and then at least, I think it's a single from the neck into the chest, giving this figure a ton of range, and it's hidden well behind the size of the neck, so there's really no issue whatsoever. You shouldn't have any problem. So we have a disc hinge at the shoulder that goes into a ball peg into the shoulder. So there's no proper butterfly joint, but you do get a little bit from the ball peg, but not a whole lot. The shoulder itself, you can get up to there and all the way around, so no issues there. We do have a bicep swivel, and it works very nicely. And then we have a double jointed elbow that works nicely as well. For the wrists, as you've been seeing with this peg, it's a ball hinge, and then you can swivel on top of the peg. So I'm good to go there as well. Same for the other side. It's a double ball peg inside from the abdomen into the chest. It is a bit of a stiff peg, but if you work her out a bit, so to speak, it's terrible, you should be able to get what you need. Then we have at least another single down at the bottom. So double ball peg and down to a single, which is perfect. Using both, you can get the figure bent over to about there, and then back to there, to the side, swivel at both ends, etc. So you shouldn't have a problem. We have drop down, yes, drop down ball joints for hips. That gets you the leg all the way up. Fairly far out to the side, not crazy, but I think enough. And then not much back, but that's okay. Thigh swivel built around the socket, no issues there. Then we have a double jointed knee, which is good to go. And then for the ankle, we have a disc hinge for the ankle, getting you an ankle tilt up, an ankle tilt down. You can rotate it and get your rocker to a crazy degree, and then you have a toe hinge. The toe hinge isn't great. It's cut probably a little too far back, but all in all, pretty well done figure. And there it is with the kind of set I have so far, and that's looking good to me. I mean, this Mafex Superman's got to go, but the rest of them look really good. Final thoughts wise, I have very few negatives. I've kind of already pointed them out, and that's namely, it is challenging at times to hide the cape issue around the shoulders, but as you can see here, I've managed to do it. It's definitely able to be worked around. The other issue is all the golds not quite matching, well, namely just the forearm ones to the rest of the figure. And then lastly, the only other thing is some of the tolerances here are a bit off, but they're off for being tight, not for being loose. And given that it's Mafex, I'll take that all day long. The one that I noticed, namely, is the double ball peg from the abdomen into the chest. The connection into the abdomen is a lot tighter, which doesn't allow that ball peg to move freely, so you have to use a little bit more force, but you have to use it wisely while you're manipulating the chest to the torso, because if you don't, it'll cause the chest to pop off. Nothing that can't be fixed immediately, just something to be mentioned. But an absolutely tremendous effort. Great sculpting, great engineering, good materials, decent choices, a lot of flawless seams in the joints, just a lot of good choices being made here in a really well executed figure. These figures have gotten more expensive on the Mafex end, but I'm seeing the quality increase as well. So I'm willing to pay for what I get. I'm good with that. I'd rather spend 80 to 90 bucks on a good figure than 60 bucks on one that falls apart when I look at it. So cheers to Mafex, really well executed Batman. I'm a huge Batman fan. I really can't have enough, so I'm happy to add this one to the collection. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.